What is up, guys? Christian Hardy here with LocksDFS.com, bringing you our favorite plays of the day. We're going to lock up some of our favorite plays, one pitcher on both sides and 3 hitters on each side as well. Before we do that, I just wanted to show you guys what we're offering on LocksDFS.com. We've got our MLB Season Pass, which is just an optimal lineup for DraftKings and FanDuel every day. Our GPP passes down here. We've got a yearly pass and a monthly pass. Those will get you 3 GPP lineups every single day. And then finally, we just launched our World Cup pass. And with that, $60, you're going to get all 22 World Cup slates. Plus, you're going to get a free week of MLB, which will start right when you purchase, which is, as you can see here, $25 a week. So really, it's only $35 for the World Cup. If you want to look at it that way. And you also get, with the World Cup pass, you'll get auto access to soccer, and we'll be playing international slates up until the World Cup begins. A lot of international friendlies to be played until then. And also with the GPPs, you're going to get, like I said, 3 a day for both sites, FanDuel and DraftKings, as well as you're going to get our MLB cheat sheets with the GPP and with the MLB optimal lineups. So let's go ahead and start over on DraftKings today. Our pitcher that we're locking in is Kenta Maeda. He's pretty much in a perfect spot today. I mean, he's been pitching lights out all year, but the strikeout upside is really what we're looking at in this matchup, because Philly is a team that strikes out a lot, especially versus right-handed pitchers. Philly strike out 26.4% against right-handed pitching. ISO around 165, which is middle of the road. I mean, they are a team with a little bit of power, but they're playing in a park that's way less friendly to power hitting than Citizens Bank Park, which is where they play their home games at Dodger Stadium. A lot bigger outfield. Philly is bottom 10 in WRC plus and bottom 10 in WOBA versus right-handed pitching this season. Maeda, he's been, like I said, lights out this year, especially with the case. 12.17 per 9 versus lefties and 11.3 versus righties. XFIPs both under 3, and he's a heavy favorite on this slate, minus 173. He's got a pretty good price tag at 10.8. I think on this slate you could put him in either high 11s or low 12s. So I think he's not at a bad price on this slate at all. And I think all the other peripherals really line up well for him. Another guy, to give you guys a few other pitchers that we're kind of looking at. Nick Kingham at 7.8 against Chicago. Obviously, he's got a tough matchup for Chicago, but this is Pittsburgh's one of their best pitching prospects, if not their best. And he's coming in at 7.8. His K upside is very high as well. I think Arrieta in the same matchup against the Dodgers is decent. Dan Straley against San Diego. Straley not a strikeout pitcher, but San Diego strikes out quite a bit. He's pitching in a big open park. That's also good. And some people will also go down to Danny Duffy down here at 4K. But probably we're not going to be doing that. And we're going to be targeting Danny Duffy instead. And that's the first lock of the day. He's actually going to be on both sides, and it's going to be Miguel Sano. We're going to actually put him at first base because we've got a third base for you guys in a bit. Sano. We've got Miguel Sano against Danny Duffy. Duffy giving up a 2.54 home run 9 to right-handed batters and 3.12 even at this giant Kauffman Stadium with this big outfield. Sano, obviously, he's coming off injury, so not a huge sample size this year, but over the last year, a 351 WOBA and a 244 ISO versus left-handed pitchers, and that is the side that Duffy will be on. Sano obviously shaking off the rust pretty early coming back from injury. Hit a home run last night. His hard hit and batted ball distance have been above average since he's been back, which is only a few days, of course, but it's nice to see that. I'm not really concerned about that at all, and especially when you're paying this much for a guy who's just coming back from injury, that's definitely a concern, but it looks like he's all good to go, and he's been showing us that the last few days. Twins run total opened up at 4.5, and it's now at about 4.9, so I think they're one of the best stacks on this slate. Like I said, I think a lot of people might be going with Danny Duffy at 4K, but I mean, this dude is, and he might, I mean, it's possible that Duffy could hit value at a 4K price tag. I mean, that is a very, very cheap price tag, but I think that he's going to be giving up his fair share of hard hits in this game as well, because he does that every single game this year. Third base, we're going to go with Kyle Seager. Seager facing Bibbins Bibbins Dirks. It's a tough name to say. Seager has nice power versus righties, 221 ISO this year and 192 over his career. One of the 2 lefties in the that are batting high up in the Seattle lineup, Denard Span being the other. He's just a little bit priced out here on DK. Bibbins Dirks, he's only pitched these last 2 years. He's a journeyman, drafted in 06. 6.12 xFIP to left-handed batters over his 33 innings in major leagues, and 38% fly ball rate, 31% hard hit. Seager's been hitting the ball pretty well lately, around 50% hard hit or fly ball versus right-handed pitching this season. So he's going to put it in the air against Bibbins Dirks, and hopefully him and I think him and a few other those Seattle guys have a good shot tonight to put some runs on the board. Seattle with a nice 4.8, I think it actually rose a little bit to 4.9 team total in this game. So Seager is a nice value. There's lots of other third basemen on the board. I mean, Arenado, you got him on the board. Man, you've got Bregman against Sabathia, Jake Lamb versus Luis Castillo, although he's playing in the should be playing with the Humidor, and Matt Carpenter versus Zach Davies is pretty good as well. Evan Longoria in Coors is not in a bad spot as well. So there's lots of guys at third base here. I mean, but we really like Seager as a guy to target. We go to outfield now. And really, outfield, I think what most people will probably land on is all the outfielders playing in this huge team total in Colorado. And our favorite outfielder there is going to be Andrew McCutchen. 3.7K I think is a little bit too low in this park for a hitter that's really a top 3 hitter on this San Francisco team. Obviously, in the order, he's consistently top 3, but I think in talent, he's also top 3. His price makes him pretty much my favorite option for San Francisco on this slate. Power stats are down this year, but he's still hitting 191 ISO versus lefties, which is who he's facing today in Kyle Freeland. Career average 242 ISO versus lefties. Obviously, McCutchen aging a little bit, but he's still due for some. I think he's due for some positive regression. You see that that half a point ISO drop. I think he's due for a little bit of positive regression, and there's no better park in the MLB than this to really get that positive regression. Over the last year, 387 WOBA, 364 ISO. Sorry, that should be 264 ISO versus lefties. Hard hit percentage up over the last 2 weeks, as well as his batted ball speed. So, like I said, I think it's really clear that McCutchen is due for some positive regression, and I think at this price tag, it's kind of hard to beat. There's a lot of other guys that we can go with on this San Francisco team, namely Nick Hundley, Evan Longoria. Gorky's is 100 more than McCutchen, so obviously a lot of ownership will go to him. Freeland isn't the worst pitcher by any means, but he does give up a decent amount to righties, 4.5 xFIP to righties this season, only a 1 home run per 9 to righties, so he's not giving up a lot of home runs. But I also think that we're not just targeting McCutchen for home runs, and of course this field at Coors is not just with the altitude, it's also got a pretty big outfield, lots of space there. I think McCutchen is a really good play, and along with Gorky's in them too. And one more other thing I wanted to mention with Freeland is he's been pitching pretty well this year. He's been pitching pretty well this year, but his Sierra is still higher. Sierra is based on more expected statistics, is higher than his ERA, meaning that he should be due for a little bit of regression. So those are our locks on DK, although I really quick want to run through the outfield. I think Blackman is a really good play high up there. I think Tommy Pham is a good play. Again, Zach Davies gives up quite a bit of power to righties. Let me run through David Dahl, of course, and we're going to talk about him on FanDuel. He's a little bit priced up here, but he's a guy who will probably still end up in our lineup today, if we're being honest with David Dahl. I could see him. He's probably our favorite Rocky on the 2 sites, I would guess. Although, like I said, he is a little bit priced up on DK, but I think he's a very, very good play. Let's. With that said, let's jump over to. Oh, and obviously, just see what other Colorado bats they play here. Samardzija is really, really bad versus lefties, so keep that in mind. Let's jump over to FanDuel now. FanDuel. We're gonna go with the same pitcher, Kenta Maeda, because I think he's in a really good spot. Again, if you want it, there's a few other pitchers we could go with here. If you're looking high up, I think the top option is Blake Snell. I think his strikeout upside against Oakland is pretty high, and he's got pretty good strikeout stuff. Nick Kingham again, I think he's a little bit priced up on FanDuel, so I'm not really too interested. But I think he's definitely in play. Again, a great prospect. You've got Kyle Gibson at 7.3. I mean, that's decent. But and then again, Danny Duffy down here at 6.4. I don't think people will go with Duffy on FanDuel on one pitcher site. But I mean, I wouldn't be completely shocked. I really think Maeda is probably the lock here. I mean, it's even more of a lock than he is on DK for me. Let's start with we've got another lock. I mean, he's a cover boy today, so Miguel Sano is a lock for us. He is, I believe he's only third base eligible on FanDuel. He is. So only third base eligible on FanDuel. So he's going to be locked in there. If you want to play another third base, you have the utility to do that with. And the other two guys we're going to play, and we've already talked about Sano, obviously, facing Danny Duffy just gives up a ton of power, a ton of fly balls. Even in this big park, I really like Sano. Outfielders. We have two outfielders for our next locks. Denard Span being one. I just really like his price. Just traded, obviously, to Seattle, playing in a park that, isn't great for power, let's be honest, in Seattle. And that's the same thing can be said for Kyle Seager. But this dude is a very, very consistent hitter. And, we're not exactly targeting Span for the power. But we've already talked about Bibbins Dirks, obviously one of the pitchers to target on the slate. And Span already batting up in this order. He's one of the only lefties in this Seattle lineup, and Bibbins Dirks really struggles with them in the past. Again, not really in play on DK, just at 4K, but on 3K on FanDuel, I really love this price tag, and I think he's a good way to get exposure to Seattle with Sano, Sano already plugged in at third base. Span, again, not really a target for his power, but still, ISO over the past year is at 169 versus righties, which, it tells you that he can get the ball out of the park here and there. He's a solid play that, I think that should easily exceed this 3K value. The other guy, another guy that we have on the other site is David, I guess I added him after on the site, but he's a lock on FanDuel at this price at 3.6. He's our favorite Rocky, probably on this slate. I mean, not just straight points-wise, but point per dollar. Dahl is the guy we're going to go with. Hard hit percentage, batted ball speed and distance, and fly ball rate all up, all trending over the past 2 weeks of games. His prices remain mostly the same, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. If you look at his game logs, he's been crushing in May, and I mean May 12 for 31, 2 homers, 2 steals in the month. He's really been doing very well. They've been batting him up in the order pretty consistently in Colorado. It's clear that he's making his transition to the major leagues. He's been a prospect for years in their system, and this is kind of, this is his year to really break out, and they're giving him the opportunity to do that. I wanted to pull up Jeff Samardzija real quick because I didn't write notes on him, but I know that he's consistently awful versus lefties. I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, 405 WOBA versus lefties in 14 and a third innings this year, 6.76 xFIP, and that's not in Coors. He's also playing in Coors tonight. So, I mean, this dude is real bad. Not to mention he's bad versus righties too. I mean, 295 WOBA, 559 xFIP. Also, fly ball rate to lefties is 54%. So, I mean, he's putting the ball in the air. I mean, Colorado, it has a 6-team total, and it's very, very valid tonight. It could even be higher. I'm surprised it's not. This is probably the best matchup they've had in this series so far, just because Samardzija has just looked completely washed this year. So those are our locks today. Dahl, Span, and Sano on FanDuel, and on DK, we've got Sano, Seager, and McCutchen, and pretty much Dahl is basically a lock over there as well. So, hope you enjoy it. Check us out, locksdfs.com. Remember, we've got our GBP lineups. We've got, soccer coming up again. We've got actually playing soccer tonight. So if you want to hop in there, we will have international lineups tonight. So, check us out, locksdfs.com, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video with our locks of the day. Thanks for checking us out.